And we're back, and the sound is actually on.
Awooga.
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 Hello, everybody. It's your DM Connor Mann for Dice Dogs coming to you after the absolutely heart-wrenching episode of Critical Role that took place last night. Vinn, I just saw your face drop. Don't worry, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, we directly come after that episode in Critical Role, so if you want to keep up, you need...
We're Matthew Mercer's B team.
Yeah,
anyway,
we fucking wish.
I, of course, am your DM, Connor Mann. With me, as always, is Ethan, Vinn, Finn, Sophie, and M.
Oh, okay. Just the blaze fast. Okay.
I've gotten it down to a Sophie. I've gotten it down to a science.
Yeah, you would have to get it down to a Sophie because she is pretty small. So.
I'm just imagining like a butler with like a butler walking up to Sophie with like a plate, and he takes it off and he's like, "Your L, madam."
Guys, technical difficulties currently.
Yeah, more technical difficulties.
Finn's laptop crashed, so.
Okay.
Oh!
Well, no problem. We'll just wait for Finn to come back. In the meantime, we'll do a little bit of housekeeping. How is everybody doing?
My body hurts and I can't bend my knee.
Nobody cares. Anyway, so
wow.
onto our sponsor.
Our sponsor, BetterHelp.com.
Our sponsor.
Our
sponsor AO3, who is hosting our DM's greatest ever masterpiece, Something Poetic. It's very good. I don't know if yeah.
Also, I do want to point out, Discord is being like weirdly sporadic. So there might be some technical difficulties throughout this episode. It's doing this thing where it'll like stutter a bit. So basically, if I'm describing something or if somebody's saying something in character, if something needs to be repeated, if that happens, just shout it out. Worst case scenario, we just have to say a sentence again. But that's just how quarantine D&D goes.
I mean, it would be like this anyway, even if it wasn't quarantine, because you don't live with nowhere near each other.
Everyone's having to come to my house.
Which happened in my dream. In my dream last night, I went to Vinn's house to play D&D. And Vinn opened the door like, "Oh, hi!"
This is it.
And I was like, and then everybody else showed up.
This is all of the room I have. So we're playing D&D on my bed, guys. Okay.
You're so smart. Get on the bed.
You're so smart. Get on the bed.
Finn, we got you back? Oh, shit. Everybody froze. Everybody froze except me. Wait for this to sort itself out. What is happening?
What's the most chaotic
What is going on?
Wow. Yeah, this episode is
my housemate
Technical difficulties, part 2.
that was weird. I lost everybody for like a full 30 seconds.
Oh, wow. Wonderful.
And this will be a great screen cap later, but like M is stuck like this right now. And Vinn is stuck like this right now.
Oh. Good.
Yin and yang!
Yeah. Yin and yang.
In any case, do we have Finn back, or?
I'm here.
Hey, alright. Okay, so who's ready to play some D&D? Okay. Alright, so if you guys will remember, last episode, the shepherds finally departed from from the small town of Allfield after saving its inhabitants and helping with the repairs where they could. But also, curiously enough, they picked up what appears to be a new member, a young goblin by the name of Borgub Halfheart. And if you guys watched the clip last time, I said, "Here's a picture of him," and it didn't show up on.
There was no picture.
Wow.
So I'll just go into art real
I love
quick
that.
and show you guys what he actually looks like.
Make sure you go find it.
Here he is. This
Yep,
is
make
Borgub
sure-
This is Borgub Halfheart, the goblin cleric that has joined the shepherds on their journey, played by yours truly, of course. But
You didn't skip past the Dhuur'in with the gun, right? You made sure everybody saw that.
That's right. Dhuur'in received what appeared to be an antiquated, very busted up and beaten pistol that he will definitely recognize from certain dreams that he's had. But in any case, in any regards, we left off with Borgub asking to join the shepherds, and the shepherds, of course, taking him along for the ride. And we'll open up today's game with still on the same day of getting Borgub and getting your brand new mounts, but essentially, you guys are making your way down the Amber Road once more, southwards, heading towards the city of Trostenwald. And while you're not there yet, it's going to be about 2 days travel thereabouts. It's significantly shorter thanks to the horses that you've been given. And should I even keep going, or are you guys just going to keep it?
I'm listening.
Yeah, we are listening.
All right.
We're listening.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so making your next stop, the next official stop on your journey is going to be the town of Trostenwald as you make your way to the Menagerie Coast. But before you can get there, you're going to be traveling along the road on your horses for a good 2 to 3 days. And that is where we are opening today's episode, with you guys riding your steeds down the Amber Road. The horses the horses' hooves clopping against the cobblestone as you make your way through the luscious green Zemni fields. And I just wanted to ask who has Borgub with them right now, because there's not enough horses.
No, Borgub got the
inventory?
donkey. No, Borgub got the donkey.
Yeah, Gesh and
Fenkin
are freaking
We're riding together.
Yeah.
Okay. So Gesh and Fenkin are riding together. And once again, everybody's on the horses they received last time. And every now and then you'll kind of look around to see Borgub sort of struggling with his donkey, because it looks like he has a bit of riding knowledge, but it would appear that it's not his forte. But in any case, I'm what's the walking order here as you travel down the road?
Front.
Nox is probably behind him. Second to front.
I have no clue. I didn't know where to put that. I thought we were going in a straight line.
Yeah, that's what we're working out right now.
Oh.
Seeing how she's on a pony with significantly shorter legs, she's probably in the back somewhere.
Yay!
Someone who has a lot of riding experience. I think we have to trot to keep up with the walking horses.
All right. So in any case, Borgub's kind of in front of Ozla, and everybody else is in a line in front of them. And as you guys are walking along, it's still mid-morning, as it's only been a couple hours since you left Allfield behind. The sun isn't directly overhead, and it is just a bit nippy and chilly. It's got that morning chill. But as you ride along, you can see how the breeze moves through the fields all around you, and you can actually see the wind currents as the grass kind of bobs and weaves with the breeze. And it's a rather nice day, and the roads seem very clear. Aside from a couple foxes darting back and forth, and maybe a few deer, there's not really any traffic other than you guys. So as this is happening, is there anything specific anybody wants to do right now, or?
Yeah. I'm riding my horse. I look back at Nox and say, I've never ridden a horse before.
Nox is just looking at him, and it's just like, I can tell.
Wow.
The creatures of the above world are very tame.
As soon as you say that, the horse you're riding on kind of does the thing. So the horse that you're on, Dhuur'in, I believe you.
I have the pretty white one.
You took the white steed. The horses from Allfield, they're normally used as like draft horses, in which they're usually used for pulling stuff around, and they're used for farm work and whatnot. All the better riding horses are usually reserved for the Crown's Guard and all that. But these are pretty sturdy, strong horses, and they're very well cared for as well. As you run your hands through the braids of this horse, you can kind of tell that it's been washed recently because it doesn't have that like weird gummy sweat feeling when you finally take your hand away.
Okay. I will ponder what to name this horse.
Aww.
I've never had a pet.
All right. So, is anybody else doing anything right now, or are you just continuing to walk along in silence?
Fenkin, who's sitting behind Gesh, doesn't see anything. He's just like,
So, Gesh, as you ride with Fenkin behind you, you can kind of like feel him shifting around a bit behind you.
He doesn't even attempt to answer. He's just gonna stay in his position. He's just gonna let Fenkin suffer, you know.
All right, Fenkin. While you're kind of like twisting around and trying to get like a look past your far bigger compatriot, there is kind of a moment where you just kind of give up, and when you turn around to check on Ozla, you see that Borgub has gotten himself into a bit of a situation where the donkey has turned all the way around and is walking backwards, and you see Borgub just kind of like,
oh my god! Oh my god, can I use a spell slot? I speak to the donkey now!
Now is the time.
I mean, maybe not. That was just an idea I had, being like, hey!
And
Hey.
so while this is happening, Ozla, you're behind Borgub, who is now facing you, while the donkey doesn't seem like irritated. It just seems like, oh, this is what we're doing now.
This is what's happening.
So eventually, Borgub just kind of like holds the reins, and he's just like, hi.
Oh, it's so stupid. I love it. Oz, like she's not paying attention to anything. So like when she suddenly sees like a face right in front of her, so like pulls the reins. Right. Mechanical fucking horse, apparently. She pulls the reins back and everything. Turn on. And she's just like staring at him like, But she like waves back and says like, how the fuck did you do that?
Borgub just says, I don't know. I've only ever ridden goats before in Craghammer, so I don't really
That's more experience than I've done. I've never actually ridden a horse before. I think you just pull the rein, what the fuck is it called? The reins. The reins. You need to pull the reins. Yeah, that. And like she sort of like trots up next to him as close as she can get without like fucking side-barreling him off the path. And she just like starts like trying to pull at the edge of the horse's mouth to like get him to turn. The donkey.
Make an animal handling check for me.
Oh shit. Oh no.
This is gonna be great.
Then we all just turn into cowboys.
Yeehaw. Yeehaw.
What was it? Sorry?
That.
Yeehaw.
14.
14. Okay. So as you reach out to take the reins from Borgub and kind of give him a tug, the donkey, there's a bit of a from it before you finally get it to turn around, with Borgub just kind of like trying to stay balanced. But eventually, as you pull your horse forward, the donkey is also realigned with everybody else. And Borgub taking back the reins, he says, thank you.
It's alright, mate. You look a little nervous riding on it, though.
It's just, I don't do very well with donkeys. One of them kicked me when I was a kid.
I had the same thing with a salmon once. Got me in the fucking forehead.
A salmon?
Yeah. How'd it go? I was fishing one day, like off the edge of the docks, and salmons, they're really like finicky little creatures, like little bastards, really. But never let a salmon know that. Never let a salmon know that you think it's a bastard. They will come for you. But the amount of times they jump out of the water. I was fishing and I caught one of them, but I think the other one had a vendetta against me, a little bit of revenge, and it just came out and slapped me across the face. So I can't really fish around there anymore. I'm not scared, but you know, I just don't like it.
I don't even know what to say in character. You just threw this crazy bullshit at me.
Silence. Shocked silence.
Borgub for a minute is just like, well, I wouldn't really know anything about that. The only fish I've ever seen have been on a plate and fried up, but I'm glad to hear that you have experience of a kind.
You could call it that. Would you like fishing?
I've never really thought about it. It sounds fun sitting by the water, maybe, but honestly, I don't like the idea of hurting another animal.
Oh, that's sort of how Fenkin thinks sometimes, actually.
Really? Mr. Fenkin?
Yeah. Fenkin
matchmaker?
Mrs. Fenkin?
Oh my
god, Can you imagine some NPC is just like, so, is there a Mr. Farwarin? And Fenkin's just like,
I'm
yes.
here.
Yes, there is.
It's me.
Yeah. She sort of like laughed a little bit. And she's like, yeah, Fenkin loves animals. I think he grew up surrounded by. I don't know much, but I think he grew up surrounded by them a lot when he was a little kid. So, or a little elf. I don't know what they called them.
How long has everybody been traveling together? I've heard about everything in Zadash, but beyond that, I don't really have anything else.
Oh. See, mate, I'm not too good with time, so this feels like 2 days to me. But it's been a while. Maybe a month.
A couple weeks.
It's been a week. It's been a little while. We met in this tavern in Pride's Call. We met a really cool dwarf. Dwarf? Was he a dwarf? No.
Floyd?
Floyd was a dwarf, yes.
Okay. So we met a really cool dwarf and we got to get back some beer, which is cool. What else did we do? We went on a caravan ride where I almost got murdered. We went to a bookstore and we Nox was seeing things?
I'm sorry, you almost got murdered? What?
Yeah. Oh, we didn't tell you that.
No.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I almost got murdered. I don't know why. I think I might have taken some money a while ago. It's a bit weird, yeah.
There's a moment where Borga blinks and he just kind of like swallows and nods and kind of like turns away from you, Ozla.
She's cute.
And he'll kind of call out to everybody else. I forgot what I was going to say. Is everybody doing all right? I brought some rations along. It's not much, but if anybody's hungry, I can break into them now.
I wave my hand dismissively.
Nox looks back and says, "You should check them anyway to make sure the raccoon is not in them."
He'll say, "The raccoon?" And almost on cue, like something will rustle in his huge backpack, and Princess pops out with crumbs on his little raccoon chin, and Borga will look up like, how did he?
Oh, hey, come here. And she like holds her hands out to Princess, like, come here.
Princess will like make that Perry the Platypus noise, just like that, and like climb down from the backpack and into your arms. And you can see on his lips there's like raspberry jam of some kind, and
I hope you didn't eat all your rations.
And Borga will blink and he's like, anyway, I've never been to Trustenwald before. I'm kind of excited to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've never been either. Do you know anything about it?
Well, I know that it's a big town, and I know that there's quite a big lake there as well. So it's kind of a fishing import town. So I would very
fishing.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I didn't want to impose because I know I'm a bit new to the group, but I was hoping when we go to Trustenwald that maybe we could stop by the lake just to see it for a bit. If not, that's completely fine.
No, I can manage that, mate. Yeah, we can take a little. Yeah.
That sounds nice.
Oh, my brain stopped. Fuck! Yeah, I've lost it. It's gone.
Right, it's gone.
And
it's gone, everyone. That's the session over.
Permanently.
And I don't know what every character's experience is with goblinoids, but in the standards of the Empire, this would be a very strange sight to see. Indeed, a goblin riding with quote unquote people. So
I've probably killed a couple in my travels.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of us have done some
probably.
goblin murder.
Yeah.
So to have
just some merry goblin murder.
As one does.
Indiscriminate with my eldritch blast.
And we nearly did murder a goblin. So
that's true.
Yeah,
that's not wrong.
All right. So unless there's anything else that anybody wants to do, I'm going to say that you guys travel for I'm going to say about 8 hours before the sky begins to darken, and you all kind of share the thought of like hopefully opening up a campsite at some point. But the problem is, as you're riding along the road, there doesn't seem to be like there was plenty of forest more northwards, but now as you're getting further and further down south, it's far more plains and fields than anything else. And there's kind of like a 3-foot stone wall along the road as you ride that clearly cuts off any path into the fields of grain. So there doesn't really seem to be any place to actually stop and set up a camp other than in the center of the road. And you also have to factor in your horses now. Fortunately, Dhuur'in, you said you're in the front, right?
In the front.
Give me a perception check, my dude.
Oh
shit. We're all doomed.
Yeah, he has good perception, I think.
8.
Never mind.
Okay, Dhuur'in.
Never mind.
My passive perception is 12.
Okay.
So you had one eye closed.
Nox,
I'm very distracted by the fact that this creature I'm riding on hasn't tried to kill me yet.
So
That's fair.
Dhuur'in, you may be looking for some kind of like camping area, but you get distracted when your horse kind of goes again, and you kind of like reach forward to touch its face. Again, not really knowing how a horse works, so it's just kind of like a kid with a dog, just like face, touch the doggy's face. But Nox, can you give me a perception check?
Sure.
Since you're the
Don't have
one.
a stinger. You're not poisonous. You're so good.
Also, the horse, being the noble creature that it is, might not have tolerated this at first, but you're also a very scary, cold-feeling drow. So there's kind of this nervous energy from this horse as it's just like, just keep walking, just keep walking, just keep walking.
Fenkin talks to the horse and he hears just that.
The horse can hear the terrible whispers in my brain, and it's like, oh god, oh god.
Oh, y'all, I hate to break this to you, but y'all have been perceived. This is a 20-fucking-6.
Oh, god damn.
Alright, Nox.
Because I got expertise now.
So, Nox, you look forward and you can see every microbe in the air. As
I can see all.
You all watch as, like, Nox's eyes just blare out in a yelp. No.
I imagine it like, you know, when you have a cat and it's just like staring at something like in the corner of the room and you don't know what it is.
Yes.
Like Nox is seeing ghosts.
That is exactly what's happening right now.
So, Nox, as Dhuur'in kind of leans over to start petting his understandably terrified horse, you in the distance, about like a mile or so off, you can see what appears to be smoke, like a white smoke, kind of like rising up from the distance. And as you guys get closer to it, you can see what is clearly some kind of small farmhouse with its light still on. You can see the orange glow from inside the windows, even from this distance. So yeah.
Again, you can't see anything.
There's a moment of
An animal.
There's a moment of Nox being like, how is it that I've seen this and the person that's leading us hasn't said anything about this? But then she...
These are a bug that'll solve it.
She looks at him and she's like, oh, that's why. She will wave a hand in the air to kind of get everyone's attention, or at least everyone that's behind her, I suppose, and gesture with her finger towards the farmhouse that she spots in the distance, just assuming that the rest of them can see it, knowing that she has very good eyesight and not really caring if others don't. Just like pointing and she'll say, farmhouse.
I'll say that everybody except Fenkin can see it. Because you're pointing it out. But again, Fenkin, all you get is that good old Dragonborn back. So yeah, you're very slowly approaching this what appears to be a farmhouse. Do you guys want to get up in there, or?
Yep.
Get up in it.
Yeah, get up in it. Yeah.
The door.
All right. So.
Oh yeah, we should probably knock on the door first. Yeah.
So it takes about 5
Yeah,
minutes.
don't just go straight in the farmhouse.
So it takes about 5 minutes. It takes about 5 minutes for you guys to actually make your way over to the where the farmhouse is in the fields, on the road. And by the time you do get there, it's starting to get a little purple in the sky, and just a few stars are starting to glitter.
Ooh.
But the farmhouse itself is kind of the stone wall that I described earlier. Kind of gives away to a pathway that leads up to the farmhouse. And the farmhouse itself seems like rather small, and it has that Bavarian design that's very common in the culture of the Dwendalian Empire. But you can see that they have a big patch of land where they seem to be growing a bunch of pumpkins. You can see a big patch where there's carrots and things and corn. And surrounding it is just this fucking huge, like, acres upon acres of just golden grain. But yeah, it seems like the path is big enough for. But as you guys, the path is big enough for all your horses to get through and to make your way up to the house. But as you guys approach, Borga seems a bit nervous, and he reaches down into his pack and starts rummaging around. And as he does that, he looks up and says, "Are we going to stop here?"
No. Why?
You're killing me today.
Good job, party. Good job, everyone.
Well, it's just, if we are, and they are Dwendalian citizens, I want to be prepared, so just give me a moment here. And you watch as he pulls out what appears to be this kind of like tan color patty cap. It's small enough for his own head. And you guys watch as he brings it up, and he takes his goggles off, brings it up, and kind of like puts it on over his head and adjusts it. And as soon as that happens, you watch as the green of his skin suddenly begins to fade and change color. You watch as his face, it doesn't like change necessarily, but one moment it's a goblin's face, and the next moment it's a halfling. A halfling with kind of like a little goatee right here, maybe some mutton chops and red hair. And where a goblin once sat is now a halfling.
Oh.
And
yeah,
Amazing.
Gesh sees all this, walks over and yanks the hat right off.
What?
So
What?
as you get off your horse, Dhuur'in, you're finally able to like see something that is not a Dragonborn's back. And as soon Borgum kind of looks up with his
Yeah, you
hat
meant
on,
Fenkin.
and as soon as Borgum looks up, you whip the hat off, and once again, it's Borgum again, the Green Goblin. He's just like, what?
And he was like scrambling for the reins, and he's like,
There's no reason to hide.
Well, Mr. Gesh, I do appreciate what you're trying to say, but I'm a goblin, and they will shoot me on sight.
If they try anything, we'll kill them.
May I please have my hat back, Mr. Gesh?
No.
Gesh, come on. It's for his safety.
He's plenty safe with us.
I mean, yeah, but like, if he wants it back, you gotta give it to him. Let's just see how they are. Let's just see how they might be really nice people.
Fine. He just drops it in front of. Just drops it in front of him.
On the ground, on the horse, on the.
Just onto just two
On his head.
more grub.
Just plops it on his head.
So the hat plops on, and Borgum's like, thank you, and then he adjusts it again, and once more he's a halfling. And his halfling form is kind of like pale skinned with kind of like reddish mutton chops and a reddish goatee, like I described, and very green eyes as well. But eventually he hops off his horse and he says, maybe the people here will let us use a patch of land for the night. You do have a tent, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, some of us can wait here with the horses if anybody wants to, go see if anybody's home.
wait with the horses. Good idea, but it's useless.
I'm petting mine on the face.
Yeah, but so right now somebody can go up to the house and give her a
Everyone
knock.
stares at Nox.
What?
Everyone stares at Nox.
Everyone pointedly looks at Nox. Nox will go.
The leader.
Okay.
She will go.
All right. So are you getting off? Getting off your horse?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you get off and make your way down the pathway, Nox, you'll find that as you walk through, there's kind of like these occasional archways every now and then that are connected by what seem to be like these garlands of fresh vegetation, and off of those are hanging like pots and baskets of flowers. It's a very nice setup. And eventually the stone pathway leads you up to the house, which again seems very small. It's almost more shack-like than it is a house. And as you give it a knock, you hear a voice inside, muffled. Hey, just a minute. We'll be right out. Putting some lemon squares in the oven.
Aw.
Can I roll to see if I smell the lemon squares?
Absolutely. And do it with advantage because Tabaxi have advantage.
What is that?
Yeah.
I'm joking.
21.
20,
I
okay.
can smell the shit out of that.
So as you take a deep breath in, you can smell like the vegetation and the different vegetables growing in the gardens all around you. But the smell of both like sweet maple and citrusy lemon hits your nose, and it is the most delightful thing you've ever smelled. It's a warm, calming, soft smell, you know. And
Hell, yes.
it's a bit reminiscent of the honey you smelled. A little bit.
Oh no.
But
Oh no.
The door opens, it's the bees.
So it's edible.
But
I've been
eventually,
expecting you.
eventually the round door to the hut finally opens, and at the doorstep, amidst the interior glow of candlelight, stands a halfling. He's wearing he's wearing what seems to be like kind of like a white farmer shirt and overalls, and he has a pipe in one hand that's got smoke coming out of it. He's got kind of mousy brown hair and a long beard that kind of like comes out this way and goes down a little bit. And he peers out holding his pipe and then sees a pair of legs and looks up and he says, "Oh, would you look at that? Hello."
Nox looks at him for a couple of seconds, looks up past his little head to the interior of the house behind him, and then says, "Are you the owner of this property?"
That would be me. Balin Freebottom's my name. It's a pleasure to meet you, ma'am.
She will offer a hand to shake, and introduce herself. "My name is Nox. I am a traveler in these parts. I have a small, very tired party with me. I was wondering if you knew of a place that we could rest for the night."
As you take his hand to shake it, he has a surprisingly strong grip for a halfling, which might come from, which might not be too surprising considering that this is all farming land and this might be his farming land that he tends to every day. But he gives it a fine shake and he's like, "That's a fine name, Miss Nox." And before he can continue, there's another voice. Dear, who is it? Is somebody at the door?" And Mr. Freebottom turns his head. "Oh yes, come along, Mabel." And another halfling makes their way to the doorstep. This one is a woman halfling. She's wearing a frilly blue dress, and she's got kind of this apron in front of her, and she's covered in flour. You know, there's flower patches all over her dress and everything, and her hair, her own red hair is kind of like tied back in this little bun. And as she peers around the corner, she kind of wipes her hands and looks up, and she says, "Oh my, we have visitors, don't we?" "Yes, we do. May I introduce my wife? This is Mabel Freebottom." And Mabel kind of like takes her dress and curtsies a little bit for you know.
Aww. Nox bows her head a little bit to the woman and says, "I am sorry to intrude. I I simply am looking for a place for my friends and I to have a little bit of rest, and you are the first home I have seen for quite some time.
Persuasion check.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh no.
25.
Oh damn.
Let me tell y'all something. This bitch has a +8 in persuasion right now. So I'm ready.
Wow.
Mr. Freebottom takes a drag from his pipe and he says, "Well, if it's a place you're looking to stay, I'd love to give you room and board in here, but judging from your size, we don't exactly have enough rooms, unfortunately. But if you'd like, you can head out into the field and set up camp wherever you like. Honey, do we have any lemon squares on a plate?" And she says, "I think we do. I'll be right back." And she dips out. And as she leaves, Mr. Freebottom, he kind of like leans over and sees everybody else. And he says, "Oh, is that your motley crew over there?"
She nods towards them and she says, "Yes, I see that they are a very and then she like clearly like looks for a word for a couple of seconds. Very, very unique assembly of individuals, but they're well behaved. Do not worry."
"Oh, I don't worry too much about that. I don't worry about too many things nowadays. Makes you late for dinner. In any case, consider Freebottom Farms your abode for the night. If you'd like, you can do some hunting in the woods. There's plenty of game out there. But other than that, is there anything else? Is there anything we can do for you? We have some fresh water from the well. I can bring a few buckets around."
You have any beer?
Ozla, as soon as you say that, "No beer, but we do have wine. Would you like some wine?"
I'll take it.
And we'll bring some wine around as well. "And you're probably going to need firewood. I think we have some extra stacks in the back. Why don't you go get set up and I'll bring around what I can."
Nox bows to him a little bit and says, "Thank you, my friend. I appreciate this kindness." And she will head back to the party.
Before you can turn around, you hear, "Oh, wait, just a moment." And Miss Freebottom appears around the corner again, this time holding a plate with what seems to be kind of like tightly wrapped in cheesecloth. And she holds it up to you and says, "Here, these are freshly baked. I think you'll enjoy them. They're a family recipe of mine."
Ooh. She is delighted to take these. You can see the prick up of her ears. You can see her little cat nose twitching. She smells how good it is. And she takes them and gives another gracious bow, and then this time with slightly more speed, because she wants to eat these right away. She will hurry back to her friends.
So you guys, you watch as Nox comes back from the hut, and you see the door to the farmhouse kind of close. And she seems to be carrying a plate of something, and she also seems to be doing that cat thing where her tail is thrashing and her ears are kind of like.
Yes.
I'm occupied with my. I'm making it look at me in my eyes.
Wow.
Terrifying eyes.
Jesus Christ.
Its eyes on the side of the head. Are you literally turning its head like
I'm holding its face and looking at it, and I say, "Your name is Dhuur'in."
Give me an animal handling check again, please.
Oh god.
Me?
Oh no.
5d20 or 5d20.
This isn't gonna go well.
What did you say the name was?
14.
The horse, likely a bit terrified, is frozen in place and is doing everything you want it to do.
He's looking on with like understanding. He's like, "Oh God, poor thing."
Help! You're staring at it.
I'm having a lot of fun. with an animal that is not actively trying to kill me.
As you approach, Borgub, who is kind of like tending to his own donkey, trying to like, the donkey itself kind of like sat down, and he's trying to like get it to sit back up. But finally, he sees Nox approaching. He's like, "Oh, what did they say?"
Well, there is likely no room for us inside, but they are willing to allow us to stay in the field, and we have a more than suitable tent, so this will be fine. They also gave us whatever these things are, and she holds out the plate.
Okay.
Oz leans in and she like sniffs. They smell weird.
Rude. So rude.
She doesn't know citrus smell.
They smell wonderful. Oh, it's the scurvy. Oh no. That'll get you.
Never had a lemon or an orange in her life.
Plot twist: Ozla just doesn't have teeth
Yeah. He's been lying the whole time.
from day
See,
one.
my teeth is just...
Nox will, she's kind of holding the plate with one hand, and she is using the other hand to take one of the lemon squares, and then she puts that on top of another lemon square, and then she takes both lemon squares stacked on top of each other and puts it in her mouth.
I knew
So as you peel back the cheesecloth, you reveal what appears to be a stack of like 15 of these lemon squares. And at first they just kind of look like yellow bars of soap. But as you pick them up, they kind of have like the consistency of a very, very thick jello, you know? And when you bite into it, the texture is more of like a cake almost. The bottom is like a shortbread kind of like pie material, and the top is all that like lemon goodness. And as you bite into it, it's just like an explosion of both sweet and sour in your mouth, mixed with what tastes to be some kind of like lavender flavoring as well.
Ooh. That's good as hell.
Fenkin was like, "Oh yay, soap!" Oh no, they're edibles.
Oh no, it's food. Damn it.
Dang it!
Now make a Constitution saving throw. No.
Please, I have like one constitution.
Could you imagine? All right, but yeah, they're very good, Nox.
Fuck yeah. She just has like the biggest, like most self-satisfied smile on her face. And she's like, And then she'll take one and she'll push it at Oz and say, "Try it."
I was gonna have her like try and fight them for I was like sort of like looks in, tilts her head and picks it up, and she's not used to little cake things because she didn't have sweets much. And she like sort of wiggles it a bit, and I think I don't know if she like loses some of the jelly or something.
As you do pick it up to like wiggle it, you do feel it kind of like start to break away, but you are able in time to like get your hand under there before it like, you know.
She's holding it like that and she goes, "Okay." Wrong gun.
So
And you can just see it going up.
So Sophie, has Ozla ever had sweets of any kind?
Mm-mm. What? What is it gonna do?
All right. So the flavor itself is almost shocking to you as it hits your tongue. It's like, to a normal person, it's just like, oh yeah, this is like a sweet lemony treat. I do like this. To you, it's just like shapes and colors, the likes of which I've never seen.
Ratatouille.
Wait, Connor, it's like that scene in Alligator Boy when he ate the ice cream.
Yes, exactly.
And he just
I'm imagining that Fenkin has been keeping her away from sweets just because he has seen what sugar can do to people. And he doesn't want that to happen to us.
So you guys essentially watch as Ozla shoves this in her mouth, chews, freezes, and her eyes widen and then dilate. And Borgub kind of steps forward and puts a hand on her shoulder and shakes a bit. He's like, Miss Highhill, are you okay?
He goes, oh boy.
You never told me things like this existed.
He's like,
And then she just snatches another one and shoves it in her mouth.
Jesus Christ. Borgub kind of like backs away, kind of next to Fenkin, and he looks up like, is she going to be okay, or?
He's basically face palming and like rubbing the crease between his eyebrows, and he's like, just leave her be. She'll be fine.
Sorry, Knox.
So,
Stealing your lemon.
in any case, Miss Knox, you said that they're allowing us to set up on their property, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, should we go ahead and do that now?
Suppose, if you are ready, we will need to secure the horses for the night, and they're also giving us some firewood if we would like to make a small fire.
Okay, I can handle securing the horses just fine. Can I make a request though?
Yes.
Wherever we set up, can we do it away from any of the windows of the house? Anywhere
We
close.
can be.
Anywhere.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Anywhere close to the woods would be best. I don't want to impose.
We can be facing the woods if that is what you would like.
I would appreciate that. Thank you. I don't want to have to wear the hat all night.
She bobs her head a little bit, and she will she'll go and give Dhuur'in a little pat on the head, just as he's, I assume, staring lovingly into his horse's eyes.
I moved on to Knox's horse, and now I'm across from Knox's horse.
All right.
Take him away from the horse.
So essentially, what happens is you guys kind of like make your way onto the property from the path, making your way through the fields of grain, and you do find like a little outcropping of kind of like a flatter area for you guys to put all your stuff down that kind of faces into the forest. And all around you, you're just completely backlit by the night and the mountains rising up in the background. It's a very nice spot. And as you guys begin to set up the tent and whatnot, you can watch as Borgub takes out what appears to be like 5 pitons from his pitons, something like that from his from basically.
Not Pythons.
I think it's pitons, yeah. So he takes out
What are those?
basically he takes out 5 rods with like loops at the end that seem very thick around. And with his mace, he taps those into the ground, and one by one, he takes the reins and ties them to the pitons until all the horses are in a line. And while this is happening, Mr. Freebottom makes his way over. You see that he's carrying in his arms a big old set of firewood, and he sets it down. He's like, "All right. My wife will be around with some wine and some food in a little bit. Is there anything I can do for you?"
How do you feel about goblins?
As you say that, like Borgub's like about to hammer in another python, and his like shoulders jump, and Mr. Freebottom, he takes a puff from his pipe. Hate the fucking bastards. Pardon my language, but we've dealt with enough problems with them. But thankfully, the Crown's Guard came along and was able to take out the tribe that had been taking some of my crops in the past summers.
Right, you can go then.
Oh, all right. Have a lovely evening. All I ask is, please don't take anything from the gardens, but beyond that, have a wonderful night.
It stares down Gesh like, is that really necessary?
The entire time the conversation was happening, by the way, anybody who could see Borgub, you could see he's just like sweating bullets. But
No.
Oh, God.
but beyond
We
that,
could always burn this place down later.
Jesus Christ. Beyond that, though, your campsite is eventually able to be set up, and you have soon enough you have a roaring campfire sitting before you, along with the tiny A-frame tent. And when Borgub comes back from his particular set of work, he kind of like cocks his head at the tent and he says, "Are there more, or?"
It's bigger on the inside.
Be my guest.
Just stick your head in, look inside, and you'll see.
Oh, all right. And you watch as this tiny goblin kind of like gets on his hands and knees and crawls inside and freezes when he's halfway through. And you hear him like shout something in Dwarvish before like he vanishes all the way inside.
I tell all of the horses good night.
Fenkin would like to turn to Nox and be like, did they say anything else about provisions or food?
Nox looks at him flatly and says, "You mean a bath?"
You're not wrong.
She.
No. Sorry, go ahead.
What's up?
I
Go ahead.
I will say that Mr. Freebottom did tell you that there is kind of like not like a spring, but there is kind of like a small creek somewhere in the small patch of forest.
She nods towards the line of trees and says, "I have been told there is a body of water that is probably only slightly full of animal piss, if you would like to go take a bath."
He doesn't even stay. We lost Sophie.
Oh no!
I know.
But yeah, he doesn't even let her finish her sentence. He's already on his way.
All right, and as Fenkin dashes off into the woods, you guys watch as like Borgub comes out of the tent, looks around, goes back in the tent, then comes back out, and is like, "How is it's on the inside? There's and table."
It
Table.
was a gift.
And we can sleep in here. Because I can sleep outside
Nope, you are not sleeping outside.
it's just, it's so much bigger on the, and he kind of like turns around to look at the tent itself as if like trying to like piece together how this is possible before finally giving up. And he's like, well, in any case, I have some dough left over from Allfield, so I'll get some biscuits on the fire if you guys want. And where did Mr. Fenkin go?
Probably to go take a bath.
All right. So with that, we will cut over to Fenkin's point of view. Fenkin.
Again. Last time with Fenkin. Prequel series.
We have to sell. That's gonna be part of our merch. Fenkin bathwater.
Yeah, we'll
It's
be
like
selling that on our
part
Patreon
of
that we don't have
on
for all
top.
19 of you.
You all exhaust me.
Yeah,
let her
I
hurt.
know. It happens, you know.
Connor.
Anyway, Fenkin.
Yes.
So the woods you're heading into isn't really like woods per se. Woods kind of like indicates that this is a huge stretch of land, but I'm going to say this is only about like an acre of forest that you're making your way into. It's clear that the Freebottom family has several acres of land that they own, including this small patch of wood. But as you make your way away from the noise of the group, the general chatter and everything fades away, giving away to a sound that you're far more familiar and probably far more comfortable with, that being the sounds of the woods and of nature all around you. There are in the warm evening air. There's the sound of I forgot bugs for a second. Crickets and cicadas. you hear the tunes of crickets and cicadas playing out, and maybe a few like evening birds tweeting as you get further and further into the forest, eventually losing sight of the camp entirely. But yeah, so you're walking through the forest right now, my dude.
My dude.
He's thriving.
Fenkin, don't find another Mothman.
Imagine he just stalks him. No, but he's really, you can see how the stress and tension from like being on horseback for 8 hours just like melting off of him, as well as
He wasn't even riding it.
he was. It's still bumpy.
So,
Anyway, and like he's always very tense when he's around people and towns and stuff like that. So whenever he often uses the bathing as an excuse as well, just to get away from everything and have a moment to himself in nature. So he's really just like everything's melting off of him. He's relaxing, taking a couple of deep breaths, listening to the sounds around him, almost like taking a little extra time, like walking a little slower than usual, just to really enjoy everything.
All right. So you're very relaxed, right?
okay.
Extremely.
Uh-oh.
Which means you're very so. All right.
Okay.
Make me a perception
Oh,
check
no.
with disadvantage.
Mothman,
Oh.
your arch nemesis.
Mothman is literally... Mothman's gonna just jump out of the water, isn't it? Just...
I love watching you guys watch
Fenkin.
me like put all the pieces together, because I can see the horror dawning on your face.
Ooh, 20!
Oh my god.
Oh. God damn.
All right.
So much for the ambush.
Unfortunately for you,
What? What? Excuse me?
unfortunately for you, as you make your way into a clearing, Fenkin, you find exactly what you were looking for. You hear it before you see it, and your heart kind of leaps at the sound of running water. And as you kind of like pick up your pace and move further into the forest, you finally come across what appears to be a riverbank of some kind, with a very small, kind of like 5 feet across, very slowly moving creek. It doesn't seem very deep at all. It only kind of looks like you would get your knees wet if you stood in it, but still clearly enough water to get a good bath in if you wanted to, if you don't mind extremely cold water. And you are so distracted by this that you do not see the shape moving through the trees above you.
How? What was the DC on this? That a 20?
25.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Hi.
Jesus.
I don't know what to narrate other than, oh yay, water. Walks.
Splash, splash.
All right.
He's taking a bath.
So, as you shrug your gear off to get ready for a bath, you only have a moment's warning. The snap of a branch before something huge and heavy comes slamming down on you from above, Fenkin. And I would like you to make a Constitution saving throw really quick.
Oh.
But
You don't
is that
die,
20?
Ken.
Oh, shit.
What's
That's a D20.
D20
A
plus
D20
yeah.
and then plus whatever, yeah, your thing is.
Yeah, remember to add your saving throw Constitution. It should be on there. In the saving
8.
throws.
8.
Oh god.
So you are pinned immediately to the ground, and all the air is knocked out of your chest immediately. You're wheezing, and the pain is almost blinding enough for you to kind of like not be able to assess your situation really quick. But eventually, when the clarity comes back, you feel a crushing weight on either shoulder. And as your vision comes back into view, you feel a very hot breath on your face. You feel something wet fall and trickle down your cheek.
Oh, I think
You hear a very low and deep growl. And as your vision becomes completely clear, you peer into two blue feline eyes. You instantly recognize what kind of creature is standing on top of you. After all, who can't recognize a panther?
Oh.
However, the most striking thing about this particular panther is its coloration. It's snow white coloration.
Ooh.
Fur like a streak of moonlight against the darkness, all while yellow fangs snarl down at you. You can see its jowls moving as it gets closer and closer to your face. Not quite making any move to attack, but very clearly just inches away from your face.
Fenkin is, well, he was extremely shocked, still is extremely shocked. All air was knocked out of him, so he's sort of gasping for breath. But also, like, really, he's unable to still breathe because of the pressure still being on him. And he just feels the kind of paralyzing fear that you get when you don't dare to move a muscle. Also because he instinctively knows not to move a muscle because that could aggravate the attacking animal.
Right.
So he just lays still and like looks at it directly in the eyes because it's so close and it just like doesn't move a muscle.
Oh.
The creature continues to stare at you, just
speak to it.
and you can feel a paw move off of your shoulder and onto your chest. And if you look down to see it, you'll see that it's the size of a frying pan, basically, with claws that are slowly coming out, curled claws as long as building nails.
I would like to use a spell slot. Speak to animals.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Okay.
You didn't anticipate this.
So she could use that spell.
I might have forgotten, but okay. So you're casting Speak with Animals, correct? All right. So
Yes.
all right. Do you want to describe how you're casting the spell at all, or?
I would like you to narrate it
All right.
because you're so good at it.
Okay. Thank you. So in your moment of panic, as you feel this hot breath on your face, as you see teeth the size of steak knives bearing down at you, there's a moment of clarity as you close your eyes and take a deep, deep breath. You are a ranger, and you are of the elven blood, and you know exactly what to do. You speak the ancient words, words forgotten to time, words forgotten to culture, words forgotten to the people of civilization. You speak them, and your eyes open with a slight flash of green in your pupils, which is mirrored in the eyes of the panther.
I guess I'm ready to choose the words to speak.
Now, if you talk, the
okay.
panther will understand you, and you will understand the panther.
Okay, so he speaks very clearly and very slowly to make sure that the words are transferred properly. And he says, "I mean you no harm."
There's a pause, deep breath, and a growl, and finally the panther, not moving its lips, produces a voice. To legs always bring harm. Who are you? Why in my grounds? Why?
He listens to these words, and it's the first time he's actually able to successfully do this, speak to an animal. So he's a little taken back by it, and he has to collect himself before speaking once more. And he says, "My name is Fenkin Farwarin. I am of the Elven blood. I am only passing by. I mean no harm."
Elves. 2 legs. They come. They hunt. They bring cages and hot sticks.
As he hears this, there's something that breaks inside of him. It hurts him to hear this beautiful, gorgeous creature speak these words. And there's a shift in his eyes from something very, very to something filled with empathy. And he speaks again and he says, "I would never harm you. I would never harm any friend."
The panther tilts its head. You, small kitten?
What did you say again?
He asked you if you were a kitten.
He was a bit taken aback by it. He's like, "Sure."
The panther. Sorry, cinnamon roll. The panther finally steps off of you, Fenkin, and the pressure leaves your chest and your shoulder, and you're able to sit up. And it starts to like pace a circle around you as you sit up, kind of like a caged lion. And no pun intended. But now that you have a better view of this panther, other than just its face, this is a huge fucking panther. Like, it's twice the size a regular panther should be, and you can see that it's just bulging with like lean, angular muscle as it prowls and steps. It's every footstep not making a single sound, even on the driest of leaves. But you also see that it's covered in scars. In places, the short white fur is cropped, and you can see pink tissue flesh. And down across its face, there's one very long scar.
Oh, it's Shere Khan.
And as Shere Khan was a tiger, but and he wasn't white.
No, well, yeah, of course it wasn't white. He was a tiger.
Most people talking about historical adaptations, and he wasn't white.
Yeah.
Things Connor isn't allowed to say. Part 1.
Part 2.
So the panther is circling you, and he says, "You bring no fire, no hot poking sticks."
Fenton hears his words, and he reaches back and he undoes the harness that keeps the bow and arrows on his back, and he drops them to the ground. He pulls out his short sword, slowly, to not aggravate the animal, and he drops it to the ground.
The panther cocks its head again. Why here? Answer.
I am traveling with a group. We stopped over there for the night. I came here to wash. That's all.
You are not here to hunt Nilo.
Nylon.
Milo, that's your name? I'm not here to harm you.
And the panther finally sits. The panther Nilo finally sits. You are not with the man in the hat. Oh, that was the best physical D&D comedy I've ever seen. Oh my god.
Sorry, I had to. He still follows Milo with his eyes. And he tilts his head a little and says, "The man in the hat? Who is the man in the hat?"
Man with hat. With the cages and his whip. Cage Nilo. Show Nilo to other 2 legs. They gave silver coins to man with the hat. To poke Nilo. To whip Nilo. Never again.
Something seems to light up in Fenkin's eyes. Something like a fire, but like green. And he slowly turns his hands into fists. And he looks at Milo with very serious eyes and says, "Where is he? I will kill him."
I don't know what a smile looks like on a panther, but you kind of see like his lips curl back.
Well, clearly you haven't seen enough furry art.
I have not.
And Vinn
God, I
has
wish
seen
I wish
a
I
lot.
had, but anyway. Nilo kind of paws at the ground. Nilo, free. And then Nilo, eat.
Sounds good to me.
Oh.
Now, no man with hat, no cage, no whip, only Nilo.
Oh.
So he's already dead.
Dead and delicious.
Fenkin actually breaks out a chuckle at that. Like, and then he looks at Milo with a lot of respect in his eyes, and he says, "I do not know of or am friends with anyone who hurts animals."
Nilo cocks his head a bit. More 4-leg than 2 you are, Fenkin Farwarin. You are walker of forests. No cage, no whip, no hunt.
He smiles a bit in recognition to the birds, agreeing with them, and then he says, "The only ones I hunt are the bastards who deserve it."
Nilo likes to hunt. You are hunter. Nilo is hunter. You are broken. Nilo was broken. You are free. Nilo is free. And there's a pause for a moment. Nilo looks down at the ground, then up at the stars. We hunt. Yes.
Fenkin slowly gets up from the ground and stands up. And he looks at Milo. He nods slowly and says, "We hunt."
We hunt. And you watch as Nilo lifts a huge frying pan paw towards you.
Fenkin goes down on one knee, and he reaches out one hand, and he holds it very gently.
As you bring your hand under to touch the soft pads of Nilo's underpaw, there's a moment where both of your eyes once again flash green. And Fenkin, you feel something grow from your wrist. And when you look down, you slowly see a vine creep up from your wrist and curl around both your hand and Nilo's paw. Needles shoot from the vine and stick into both of your flesh. Blood begins to coalesce as it drips down and mixes, man and beast. Then, no longer man and beast, but hunters, the both of you. And as the vine decays and drops away to the ground, Nilo puts his paw back, kind of shaking it out a bit, looks up at you. So, Fenkin, Farwarin, where go now?
Fenkin was still somewhat overwhelmed by it because he has heard about it. He's read about stories about this connection between a man and a beast. So he looks at his hand with a glint in his eyes, like closes his fist, smiles, and turns to Nilo and says, "I have some friends I'd like you to meet."
All right. By the way, Fenkin, I forgot to mention this. As you pull your hand away and you look into the palm, like a tattoo, there's a black paw print right there on your hand. Nilo cocks his head. Friends. Friends with cages. Friends with whips.
Nox, run!
Does have a whip. She do have a whip.
Fenkin looks towards the direction of the tent and then back at Milo and says, "My friends are more... they're more like they've been in cages themselves. I do not think they enjoy them very much."
Kind of licks his chops. Friends also hunt?
We hunt as a pack.
Then we go see now. And he gets up on both paws, and he looks at you and says, "We run together." So, Fenkin, I would like you to make an animal handling check as you try to get up on Nilo's back.
Yeah.
Oh my god, oh my god. I can't believe we're
Beastmaster!
19.
Oh!
Whoa.
All right.
Fuck yeah.
So you're able to seamlessly make the transition from ground to catback, and you can't exactly ride him like a horse because he's not built that way. You know those motorcycles that you kind of like lean forward on? That's kind of like.
God, Ratchet!
But and as you get on, there seem to be like natural grooves that you can kind of put your feet into, and at first it doesn't seem like there's anything. At first there doesn't seem like anything to hold, so you just kind of like wrap your arms around his neck, and Nilo kind of crouches down, and before he bursts, you hear, "Hold on." And with a sudden burst of energy, you leap away from the riverbank, leaving all of your stuff behind. Unfortunately, but
Later.
You can go
but
get
the
it.
forest becomes a blur of green as you zoom through the darkness. And Nilo effortlessly dodges logs and rocks and things, leaping up and over them as he goes along. He even bounces from tree to tree from time to time, all while you're just like holding on for dear life. And back at the camp, Gesh, Nox, Ozla, and Dhuur'in, you're all kind of like sitting around the campfire on rocks, because this entire time Borgub has been showing you guys how to make kind of like Dutch oven biscuits. He's pulled out this iron pot and he's kind of like putting clumps of dough into the pot. And just as he puts like the iron lid on top of the pot, you hear a very loud rustling from the forest.
Gesh instantly gets his new staff out and just gets ready to attack whatever's coming out.
Ready to beat ass.
Yeah.
All right, Gesh, as soon as you stand up and have your staff ready, something white, like a burst of silver, just blasts from the tree line and sails over your head. And it comes to a stop. You hear it thump behind you. And as you turn around, you see skidding away what appears to be a very large white cat of some kind, with somebody very familiar riding on it. And when Nilo straightens up, so does Fenkin.
Staring in silence.
What the fuck?
Is this the first in-character fuck? I feel like it must be.
Well, it's not the first in character fuck, but it's the first time someone said.
The word. It must be.
There goes our DM. So
Yeah.
now that he's gone, I'm gonna start reading out some fanfiction he did because it's actually pretty good. So now what you see?
I'd like to say to anyone here in the group, in the party who speaks Elvish, Nilo means night breeze.
Oh.
Nilo means night breeze.
Ooh.
Didn't fucking work this shit out. She got it all ready.
All right.
The little schemer.
So,
So proud of you.
So Fenkin, you're astride Nilo, looking at your compatriots around the campfire as they stare at you, wide-eyed in maybe fear, maybe terror, maybe amazement, maybe what?
Yeah, so Fenkin sits up and like the wind, he's like throwing his hair back because the wind messed it up completely. And then he just looks a bit smug and a bit excited, like his eyes are very sparkly. You haven't really seen him this happy since the toy shop. And he cocks his eyebrow a little and says, "Everybody, meet Nilo."
Nilo.
He is my new friend.
And as you speak, Fenkin, Nilo begins to like pace around the fire pit, just kind of sizing everybody up, looking you up and down. Ozla and Borgub, he doesn't really need to. He just kind of like And Ozla, you watch as this huge cat mouth gets really close to your face, and you know how like when a cat sniffs something, it kind of like opens its mouth just a little bit to show off its teeth. That's happening like centimeters away from your face.
She's like leaning back, like, what the fuck's going on? And she's still like chewing at the bread that Borgo gave her. And she's just like, May, I know you like your animals, but I am not for this. I do not like this.
Gesh, from behind you, you feel like a pair of hands on your robe as Borgum slowly like peers around your knee.
Yeah, Gesh taps his staff down twice and the spear comes out. Just
As soon as that happens, Nilo turns towards Gesh and snarls.
Fenkin reaches one hand out and like caresses along his back, and he goes easy. And then he slides off of his back, and stands in between him and Gesh. And then he gives Gesh a really serious look, and he says, "Nilo is my friend, and he's joining this party. You guys like picking up strays, don't you?"
Nox has been rather quiet throughout most of this, and like she definitely had her hand on her bow, not quite taking it off her back, but just like ready to whip it out if need be, very quickly.
Nilo, once Fenkin like stands in the way of Gesh, kind of like paces away, but then his blue eyes flicker over to Nox, and even more than before, his head cocks, and you see
He's like, what the fuck is that?
and Nox,
He's like, hello, cousin.
probably with like a bit of shock, you watch as like the panther trots over to you, like not like a hunter's kind of like prowl, but like when a cat is running towards something. And it gets,
just curious.
And Nilo gets up in your face, sniff, and like steps back, looks you up and down, and then turns to Fenkin, and all you hear is a growling, Nox and everybody else, but Fenkin, you hear, what?
And he turns to look at Nilo, and it brings out the chuckle, and he says, "Yes, strange kind, that one. Not harmful, though."
Nox squints. Oh, go ahead.
No, go right ahead. Go ahead.
She is squinting hard. One hand still on the bow, but she will reach out her other hand, again, much the way that you present yourself in a non-threatening way to an unfamiliar stray cat, where you just like hold your hand out for it to smell. Yeah, that. She just like holds her hand out for the little guy.
Make an animal handling check.
Oh,
Okay.
You hand it off.
It's okay, she doesn't need that hand. It's bitten off. Oh, never mind. That's a nat 20.
Fucking hell.
All right.
Using my kids.
I'm taking this. Nilo is my familiar now. I'm taking him.
So as you hold your paw out for him to sniff, he cocks his head, brings up his own paw, and just right on your face. And like the entire paw covers like the entirety of your head too. So.
She like tolerates it for a second. You see her ears kind of go flat. the only bit of her face that you can see. And then after a couple of seconds, she, with both of her paws, she takes his giant paw and just slowly and carefully removes it. It just lowers it.
And as you pull the paw from your face, you can get a good look at the paw pad in the fire of the camp, in the light of the campfire, and you see what appears to be a human or half elven kind of print on the paw pad.
But
you won't have a lot of time to consider it, because as soon as Nilo's paw is back on the ground and you look up at his face, it's no longer curious. In fact, he's snarling. He rears back, and you watch as the muscle bulges under his fur. And for a split second, you all think that he's about to pounce on Nox. And for a minute, it looks like it's going to happen because he leaps forward, right? He leaps forward and jumps over Nox. And Nox, behind you, you hear the sound of a donkey screaming its death throes as it's pouncing. You hear the cracking of bone and something liquidy hitting the ground. And for all of you watching, you watch as Nilo pounces upon the donkey and begins to tear into it, ripping its throat out with his teeth and covering himself in blood.
Fucking Christ!
You have a great pick of friends, Fenkin. Just a wonderful choice.
Nox had dropped into a crouch to avoid the pounce. She just turns back, her ears are flat. She was snarling back at him, just ready to fight. But she turns around and looks at this as she's still crouching. And she looks up at Fenkin after a couple of seconds and she says, "Take him."
All the while, all the other horses are just like, and meanwhile, Nilo is kind of laying on his kill with his tail just kind of thrashing behind him, very much enjoying his meal. Ozla, you feel a pair of claws grab onto your leg, and you look down to see Princess just.
I'm not understanding. I'm like, oh yeah, me too.
The thrill of the kill.
She picks up Princess and she's like, it's okay. Go away, my child!
Then he watched all of this, and he blinks a bit, cocks his head, and then he shakes his head a little and says, "Looks like you and I both need a bath."
Speaking of which, Ben, I thought you went for a bath. How did you get a whole fucking animal?
You wouldn't understand.
You wouldn't understand.
Almost as soon as you say that, Ozla, Nilo kind of reaches a claw into his mouth and plucks out a donkey eye and flicks it away.
That's the best part.
Could you at least tell your friend not to eat our horses?
That's a good idea.
And Borga pokes his head out behind your knees, Gesh. And your goblins as well, please.
He's not gonna eat you. He'd die if he did.
He turns to Nilo and says, "Nilo," and he points to the horses, and then he points to the rest of the group and says, "No eat. We go hunt instead."
With a mouthful of donkey. No eat. But then he pause it. Finish?
Yeah, you may finish your meal. It's already dead anyways.
And he tears back into it with more splatters of blood. Some of which get on the horses, who are still
Right. Still cradling Princess, and she looks to me, she's like, "Are you speaking to it?"
Oh yeah, it's a new skill I just picked up.
You didn't say anything when you...
Little thing I've been working on.
Anyway, guys, dinner's on us tonight.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
And So while this is happening, there's a rustle in the wheat as Mr. Freebottom comes out carrying a big wine bottle.
Oh God.
All right, so and he just disappears back into the wheat.
Like the Homer Simpson
Wait,
meme.
come back! I want that!
Okay, so what just happened is Fenkin is now a Beastmaster Ranger, and Nilo the White Panther, or the Moon Panther in Exandria's terms, is now his companion.
Oh,
Yay!
holy shit!
Also, I had no idea how this was going to work out. Connor did all this, so.
All right.
Yay!
So I'm gonna make a request. I'd like to take a quick 10-minute break. That way it's a smooth transition from this to what else I had planned for the rest of the game. But yeah, so 10 minutes.
A minute.
Okay.
Let's go.